6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project.
We put hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. Personally, the whole team, $1 million plus.
We had an issue with Coffeezilla, where our lead developer took the code that he made, actually fled to Switzerland, and like held it hostage for $1 million.
He never paid me anything at all, ever. Eddie promised me, 5% of the tokens and $1 million. He never paid me.
This reporter says Eddie's entire story is fake. Liam.
The biggest reason it's out, in my opinion.
Look, I'm not the bad guy here.
Yeah.
There's some actual out there.
Yeah.
And it's not me. Like, I'm here to build.
I'm here to build and scam.
Welcome to part 3. So far, we've discovered fake orphans, millions of dollars stolen, and a cast of sleazy characters, but now it's time to put it all together. What is the truth? And who's to blame? We're gonna start by going through leaked text messages of the Coffeezilla team to understand all of their motivation. Then we'll go to blockchain evidence and show who sold what. And finally, we'll confront some of the people responsible. But before we can do any of that, we have to start in March of 2021, 6 months before the token even launched. Our 4 suspects, Logan, Crypto King, Eddie, and Jeff, are in a group chat discussing Coffeezilla, which starts as a copy of something else. Quote, "I like imitating crypto kitties," Jake the Crypto King says. Logan replies, "I agree." And initially, it wasn't called Coffeezilla at all. It was called Crypto Pets, and they were gonna sell a Pets token. And pretty early on, it became clear this was all about money, how they were gonna sell this thing to investors. In fact, Crypto King said he thought it was worth at least $20 million in only 6 months, saying the range is insane. $20 to $210 million. It's beautiful wherever we land. Eddie jumped in at this point and talked about how he could sell the project as an investment to a friend, Matt Higgins, saying, quote, "He has to spend that $350 million somewhere. Why not us?" And Logan says, "I love that idea. Crypto King, I'm in." And of course, you have Jeff saying, let's go. So you can see right there, they wanted to sell this game before it had even launched. Now later, Eddie amends the list of investors and says, quote, "Investors will be Gary Vee, Todd Morley, James Altucher, Ryan Kavanaugh, and others confirmed on my end." Supposedly, they had $100 million of investment interest.
Wow.
Now, I actually went to some of these investors and asked if this was true, and the one person who responded denied it, Ryan Kavanaugh. Quote, "Nope, not even a little bit." So this looks like it could be yet another lie from Eddie Ibanez, but either way, it looks like there was more issues than just finding investors because the team wanted to pre-sell tokens, and not everyone was sure it would be legal. Jake the Crypto King mentions that, quote, "If we have a pre-sale, it opens us up to SEC issues." And Jeff agrees and says, "Don't want to do anything that brings the SEC eyeballs." Now, not everyone wanted to be so cautious, though.
Scumbags.
Logan argues everyone does pre-sale with coins. Eddie agrees. He says, "You absolutely can do it. I have the SEC down, private and pre-sale."
What?
And honestly, it was quite the dilemma for this team who wanted money. Do a pre-sale, make millions, but you have these potential legal issues. Don't do it, you make less money. So Crypto King comes up with a middle solution. He says, if we can't sell, no pre-sale. We can still trade them in the liquidity pool. And this is the start of a new disaster.
Insider trading.
It's a bit of explaining. Now, just so we're clear, a pre-sale is where you sell investors coins, usually at a discount, before you've launched. And then when you launch, you give them those coins. Now, like I said, the team didn't want to do that. So what they did instead was they bought the tokens on the open market right after launch. But they tried to get clever with it because they didn't actually announce that they were launching this coin at all.
Insider trading at its finest.
On June 11th and didn't announce this token through Logan until August 18th, meaning they had all that time to silently buy up as much of the supply at a steep discount as they wanted. And the idea here was that doing this, the team could get these tokens extremely cheaply, which is kind of like a pre-sale, but without all the SEC troubles. And Crypto King makes this clear on June 7th when he says, quote, "Launch of the liquidity pool is where huge money will be made because you get in cheaper." And then says,
and then you dump it on the plebs, basically. That's what it works, right?
Begin buying out the liquidity pool. Once the team has exhausted funds for the liquidity pool buying, we send the contract address to friends, family, investors.
Oh my God, look at this. We begin buying out the liquidity pool. Once the team has exhausted funds for the liquidity pool buying, we send the contract address to friends, family, investors who want to be able to get in. You get in early, finance insider game at display, and then now you shill. Massive.
Who want to be able to get in.
This is
so
fraud.
Obviously, the plan is we buy first, then we give it to our close friends and family, and then maybe the public eventually, right? And even the day before, Crypto King reminds everyone, quote, "Zoo Day is tomorrow. I highly recommend everyone get a few hundred to a few $1,000s in Zoo when it goes live. It will likely 10 to 1,000x. Right. So that was their plan. Rather than doing a pre-sale, they were going to do this stealth launch and hopefully get tokens cheaply the same way, but without all the legal troubles. Or at least that was the plan. Because on stealth launch day, this is where things first started to go wrong for the team. At first, everything seemed to go normal. The team sat in a circle and literally bought it out as planned. But the next day, Crypto King says something odd. Quote, "A bot is playing with our token. Kind of cool to watch them work." But he doesn't mention who this bot is. And he also says the Cole finished selling, but doesn't mention who that is.
Really?
Now, Jeff, Logan's manager, replies upset. He says, how do we prevent someone doing what they just did again? We went from a $130 million to $26 million market cap in 2 hours. It's not cool to watch. Logan jumps in. Yeah, wait, how did that happen? And he also says, what asshole? How did anyone get this token except for us and none of us sold? And I think actually this is incredibly suspicious because the implication of what Logan's saying is,
This is deep.
we tried to scheme this really well. We tried to all buy this without letting anyone know. How did anyone else figure out we were buying it, right? And this is where a fight ensues that's going to become really interesting. Crypto King deflects the question by saying, my buyer pushed it back up to $40 million. And Logan says, no, bro, F your buyer. Explain
My buyer? Basically the plebs you pump, like you shield to. Now they're proud and talking about buyers.
to me what just happened and how
You mean
there were
victims.
30 token holders. And Jake tries to explain that this was just traders and bots happening to find the token. But Logan says only 5 of us knew about it. Jake says, well, many people chase volume and new tokens. And to some extent, he's kind of right. But Logan replies, cap. He doesn't believe it. Quote, I can't be the only one who thinks that's too incredibly convenient. Like someone was tipped off. And look, no one's more critical of Logan than me.
Insider trading, and then you have insider trading within insider trading. A fraud within fraud.
But
That's
as I'm reading
deep.
these texts, I was kind of like agreeing. Like, yeah, it does seem too nonchalant when somebody's ruining your secret plot. You know what I mean? Because Crypto King was acting very strange. He says, we created $40 million out of thin air. This is a success.
By the way, last pause before I complete the video. Crypto King is acting strange even right now on his Twitter. Just this is exactly the signs they put out when they're exposed. You can clearly see they're freaking out. Well, when I said they, I mean he's one of them. I'm going to show you the Twitter in a bit. All right, so let's actually finish this.
Logan replies,
It's
this
funny to see as
nonchalance
well.
worries me. F 40 million. It
Drama.
was at 120 million, which again, it's all about the money with these guys.
It
But
is.
truth be told, I did agree that Crypto King's attitude seemed strange in these texts. I mean, he's not wrong that bots are a thing. Traders are a thing. But it sounded like he didn't want anyone to look into it. So naturally, I looked into it. And what I found surprised me because there were bots, but there's also unusual human activity during this time. So I tracked the 5 biggest buyers of this Zoo coin. And lo and behold, this is what I found. Logan was one of the biggest buyers, which is what you'd expect, but he wasn't the biggest. In fact, 2 of the biggest wallets seem to be associated with Crypto King himself. And here's where I paused. I said, wait a second. Why did this guy buy more Zoo tokens than Logan when this is mostly Logan's project? I thought Crypto King was a small part of this team. And so to get more info on this, I actually got access to an internal meeting note from the day of June 11th, which they called Zoo Day. And in it, we find actually some interesting information. We see that 5 founders bought in. They apparently were, quote, trading in circles until each person maxed out. But on the list of buyers and how much they spent are only 4 people, when we know 5 people bought. We have Danny, Logan's assistant, for 20K, Logan Paul for 100K, Jeff at 100K, and Eddie at 100K, but Crypto King is nowhere to be found. And yet, on the blockchain, I have him putting in $200,000 worth. And this number, by the way, seemingly is confirmed in a conversation I had with Crypto King, where he said, my 200K investment. And the reason this is important is because it does imply that something shady was going on the day of the stealth launch. Because Crypto King had a relatively small role in this whole project. He was the advisor, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Like you can see from the internal meeting notes, they have a breakdown of who's getting what in terms of founder tokens. And like Logan Paul's getting 51%,
Wow.
Eddie's getting 30%, Jeff's getting 10%. Jake's only getting 5% of tokens, but he has the most of these like stealth launch tokens, which makes no sense. And it got me thinking that maybe what explains this suspicious behavior
Biggest
around like, oh,
fraudster
don't
is
worry
the
about
Jake
who was
Crypto
buying at the time
King.
of the launch. Maybe that's explained because perhaps no one knew that he was buying up large parts of the token supply. Maybe he was buying it to sell later.
Crazy.
Now, of course, that's speculation, so that's why I confronted Crypto King on all of this. But before we get to that call, let's address the elephant in the room. Logan didn't accuse Crypto King of being a scam. It was the other way around. Crypto King told Logan Paul he was a scammer. And the question is, why? Well, to answer that, we have to go from June, the stealth launch date, to September 1st, the official launch date of CryptoZoo.
September 1st, cryptozoo.co.
Now, the day of the launch was a bit strange because you might think, well, they already have a token, right? But the first thing they did was actually create a new Zoo token with a different code, but the same name.
Oh,
and
man.
they actually airdropped all the holders of the first Zoo token with an identical amount of those coins on the second Zoo token. So you might be wondering, why did they do that? Well, maybe it's to change the smart contract, but maybe it's because of what they did do. They blacklisted some of the holders. In other words, they didn't airdrop to everyone, including Jake the Crypto King. They excluded
fraud.
his wallets so it couldn't get these Zoo coins. Jake texts the group about this the next day, saying, quote, "The Zoo team made a major error this weekend. They chose not to communicate, mint a new token, and airdrop it to whatever wallets they determined fit. This decision came from Eddie and Logan, and I had no part in it. 11,250 wallets before the airdrop, under 11,000 after. They chose to blacklist
He's literally putting the heat on Logan and Eddie. I mean, of course, I'm not saying they're the best dudes here. However, Crypto King is the fraud here.
ban over 200 wallets. Now, who those wallets are, I have no idea. But he continues, quote, "As a
He's the
founder
bigger
like
scumbag.
Logan, Jeff, Eddie, and Danny, I had purchased a large quantity of tokens. 5+ of my wallets had been blacklisted from the original team's buys." Now, I don't know why he had 5+ wallets there, but okay. He says 80+ billion Zoo tokens were confiscated from me to date without any communication. So, wow. That's why Crypto King accused Logan of stealing from him or scamming. It's because he was frozen out of a lot of his wallets. Then we get to the text you guys all know. He says, "Logan, you stole $40 million. You're a scammer. You're a con artist, all that stuff. You betrayed your community. The reality is you aren't that guy." And Logan responds, "Oh, Jake, trust me, bro. I am that guy." Q, in the arms of an angel. And look, I mean, what do we make of this? Well, I don't know. I can't root for either of these guys because it sounds like Logan stabbed him in the back, but it sounds like Crypto King may have stabbed him in the back in the first place, right? Because it does appear like he bought tokens that maybe everyone didn't know about. So I'm really not a fan of anyone in this situation. And by the way, this whole thing was structured so misleadingly from the beginning. I have to talk to you a bit about it because you might think that these tokens were the only tokens they had, but it's not even true. In the distribution section of Zoo's white paper, they say there's 2 trillion tokens and a quarter of that are allocated to development, marketing, and founders. Those aren't even the tokens we're talking about right now because they claim that those tokens were locked up for 6 months. And then afterwards, 10% was unlocked every month.
Imagine.
And if that's true, there would be no reason for these funds to be blacklisted, right? Why would you blacklist something that would be locked up? And the answer is because, well, the founders had more than one set of tokens. Not only did they supposedly have these founder tokens that were locked up and couldn't be sold, these stealth launch tokens were different from that. It's like a whole different thing. And the tokens that they bought, that all of these guys bought, they could sell it basically anytime because they weren't locked up, which is a massive problem. And this fact was explicitly laid out in their meeting notes with only one rule. They say, quote, "No selling until $200 million market cap and don't impact the market more than 3%.
Oh my God.
And not impact the market more than 10% in a day."
Do you see this?
And by the way, this is basically conspiracy to manipulate a market.
Yeah, it is.
And
Hold on. I want to see this again. Oh, come on, dude. No selling until 200 million market cap. So basically waiting on the buyers, the suckers, to pump it, to take it to 200 million market cap, and don't impact the market more than 3%. Basically, don't spook the retailers and investors because if you dump quickly, they'll freak out. So do not dump and not to impact the market more than 10% in a day. This is insider trading and literally manipulating the market. It's fraud at its finest.
Market cap and don't impact the market more than 3%.
Wowzer.
And not impact the market more than 10% in a day. And by the way, this is basically conspiracy to manipulate a market. You know, they're literally having insider rules
and
for how to
scams.
sell. But we're gonna look past that,
Wow.
right? Because these rules eventually kind of changed. A text from Logan's manager, Jeff Levin, came to the group chat, Zoo founders, saying, "Guys, new and absolute rules. No one is to sell or transfer any Zoo. Logan's gonna make the call when we can make moves." And Logan replies, "Your tokens do not leave your wallet. This is a game."
This is
now,
insider
that all
trading.
sounds well and good. Don't sell your tokens, but the reality was, I mean, they're just kind of trusting each other because these tokens that they're talking about, they're unlocked. They're not locked up and they could sell it at any time. And I guess the question on my mind is that why Crypto King's tokens were blacklisted? Because they thought he would sell? Or maybe it's just the fact they found out he bought and they didn't know about all those tokens. It's honestly hard to say without knowing more evidence. And this is where we're going to jump into the blockchain. Now, I've tracked the wallets of the entire team and identified the largest seller of Zoo in the team. And it wasn't Jeff. It wasn't Danny.
Uh-oh.
It wasn't even Logan. It was Crypto King. Crypto King sold, by my calculations, millions of dollars. And I know what you're thinking. How's that possible, right? I thought his tokens were blacklisted the day of the official launch. How could he sell that much?
Guys,
Well-
he sold millions of dollars, right? And once I go on the Twitter, you'll see what exactly is happening. Because you have to remember this thing, right?
The answer is that not all of his tokens were blacklisted. He had even more tokens behind the scenes. And what's worse, the CryptoZoo team actually gave him back a lot of his blacklisted tokens, which I guess you can see as a good thing or a bad thing because he then turned around and sold those tokens, right? And from my blockchain analysis across his blacklisted tokens he got back and the tokens that he had squirreled away the whole time, he ended up making $6 million. He did this by sending out tokens from these larger wallets to dozens of smaller wallets, selling it. and then sending the money to final cash out wallets. So he used those final wallets to calculate the amount he made. Now, I know, look, it's a lot to accuse someone of selling $6 million in a project that doesn't even work. It's a giant scam. So I wanted to give him a chance to defend himself.
It's a giant
So I
scam.
got on a call with Crypto King. And here's what he said when I finally revealed that I knew he had sold.
Finish this whole fucking story. Yeah, I'll go on the record for you, and yes, I'm going to show you the kind
Let me slow this down a little bit. Just normal, right? Curious.
Finish this whole fucking story. Yeah, I'll go on the record for you, and yes, I'm going to show you the text message that say we can sell at these ascending market caps, and literally, I'm going to 100%.
It sounds like your biggest issue with me is that I sold. And if that's your biggest issue with me, that's the truth.
Wow, that is a big admission. Selling tokens for a project that you're an advisor on when the project has never been delivered. Although Crypto King
His advisor sold all his tokens, 6 million worth, before the project even launched. Yeah, you understand, right?
insists that it wasn't $6 million, and he wasn't trying to rug a project. In fact, really, he might be the one who got screwed over in all of this.
Like, I didn't sell $6 million worth. That's going to be other wallets, but that's probably not going to be able to be me being able to be proven, except for them saying, can you send BNB to all these different wallets for me? Which that I'll be able to show you that I was giving BNB to the whole team. I will also be able to show you that I was a 5% holder of the Zoo tokens that I was promised to be given over the 3-month period, was never given. I can also show you that I was frozen out and was never given the 15 billion tokens back that I paid for in cash. So
Okay.
I'll show you all of those things on the record, and then you can also say that I did sell, which is also true.
Yep.
Well, as long as that's accompanied with he was a founder that was supposed to be given 5% of the project and was never given the token or paid.
Huge
for
drama.
almost a year on the project. As long as that goes in with it, then at least that tells my side of the story so people understand that it's not like I was trying to rug a project. It's like I put $250,000 into a project plus 6 months of time, and the founder never did anything he said he was going to do, and then hired a bunch of devs that didn't do what they were going to do. And every time I gave advice, the advice was I was told to fuck off. So it can be that story, or it can be he sold all this amount and he got in early. Well, yeah, that's like 1% of it though.
Incredible. He sounds like he views himself as the victim, or at least like he got screwed too, which just has to win the gold medal for me for mental gymnastics, because he literally had put $200,000 into this and he says he made millions of dollars. Even if you take him at his word that he didn't make the full 6 million, he admits to me later that it might be a pretty close guess. He tells me via text, quote, I don't care if you tell people I sold a few million and leave it at that. Well, okay, $6 million, a few $1 million, it's millions of dollars, right? Millions of dollars when you only put in $200,000 into a project that's never been delivered, doesn't work, scammed people out of their money. How is he saying he's the one who's in the wrong? Well,
$250,000 and 6 million. How much excess is in there? And also, as an advisor, you didn't even hold any token. You dumped the entire tokens. Where did the money come from? And dude, what the fuck, dude? Gaslighting. You're portraying yourself as a victim?
in his view, what he did was not wrong. It might have been arguably unethical, but it wasn't illegal. And what Logan did, well, that was illegal.
You can say the timing was bad and it was inappropriate to sell, but the reality is I bought tokens open market and sold them open market. So there was nothing illegal about that. Ethically, arguable. The rest that Logan did to me was ethically wrong and illegal.
Now, what do I think of all this finger pointing? Well, I think it's pretty wild to try to make yourself look like the lesser of two evils when you made millions of dollars and investors lost millions. I just do. Now, at the same time, I want to be fair to Crypto King. He's not the only one who sold here. But I also have to say, not everyone from the founders did sell. For example, Jeff, Logan's manager, to my knowledge, never sold. Neither did Logan Paul, which was a huge surprise.
Wow.
All their wallets that I tracked, held onto their tokens, which is good, and to their credit for a game that doesn't work. But you know who did sell? Eddie Ibanez. The guy who didn't pay the initial devs, the supposed MIT orphan? Yeah, from what I could see, his initial wallet got a ton of Zoo, sent it to a bunch of smaller wallets, and then sold off, kind of like Crypto King. And for my calculations, he made about $1.7 million. Now, I have to tell you that like Jake, I tried to confront him and give him the opportunity to defend himself, but he never replied to my emails or my phone calls, and we're just gonna have to leave it there.
Easy millionaire, like easy millions, right? Without even the project being in public, it's just an easy million.
But we're not done with the money just yet, because we still need to talk about the X. Remember, we talked about how they profited from Zoocoin, but they also made millions from X.
Oh, man.
According to their own internal meeting notes, they plan to make about $3 million selling these eggs for 0.1 ETH a piece. And that's not far from what I calculated they actually did make, which was about $2.5 million. In the meeting notes, they say they're going to clear expenses and then do payouts. But pay out who? They don't say. And these expenses are referencing an earlier note suggesting Eddie and Logan had both spent $300,000 each, which I'll say is not $1 million, but okay, we'll give it to them, right? So they got paid back their $600,000, but where does the rest of the money go? Well, on the Ethereum side, there's one payout for $364,000 to one wallet and another $1 million to another. Both are Coinbase addresses, so we don't know who exactly that is, but clearly someone on the team made a lot of money from these NFT egg sales that do not work. And on the Binance Smart Chain side, where they also made money selling eggs, the zoo that was spent was supposed to be set aside for 50% to be burned, which they did, but the other 50% was supposed to be allocated for wildlife charities and crypto zoo development. Now, neither seems to have happened because all the money is in a wallet that the team still controls, so there are open questions about, where that money's going to go and where the Ethereum money went. Did it go to Jake? Did it go to Logan? Did it go to Jeff? Did it go to Eddie? We don't know.
The NFT
but what
money.
I know for sure is that no one was innocent, although there's certainly shades of guilt you can argue about. Because, of course, not everyone did sell. You could look at that as the most important thing. Logan Paul didn't sell. Jeff, Logan's manager, didn't sell. But does that make them innocent? Well, I don't think so, because they never built a game they promised people. Logan Paul specifically got millions of dollars spent on this game on the promise of the technology that he never built, that his team never built. And he never addressed the failure except to blame his developers who weren't paid. And you could say he promised.
This reminds me, this is the exact same thing that's happening with Superfarm and Elliott Trades, guys. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I've been talking about Superfarm, and one of the first emails I sent Coffee over a year ago, May 2011, 2021. When I discovered Superfarm, and they did the ICO and stuff, Imposters game, NFT launches, exactly the same stuff. I'm going to show you in a second, all right? Let's actually finish this.
To work backwards to fix it, but then never did. But at the same time, it's clearly not just Logan's fault either, because there are major team issues, right? You've got Eddie selling millions of dollars of Zoo and then allegedly not paying developers. You've got Jeff, who was warned about Eddie, who kept him on the team anyways, and then after they fired Eddie, seems to also have failed to pay developers on time. And then you've got Crypto King himself, who sold the most, but claims he was the guy who was scammed, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's just like Avengers.
Crypto King is the victim because he made $6 million from $250,000. So he's the victim in this game.
Symbol for the worst possible team you can imagine to build a crypto game. And so, unsurprisingly, it turns out a lot of these guys backstab each other. And so, finding a way to wrap this up was difficult because it's hard to assign exact proportions of blame. Because if you focus on any one person, you kind of miss why this project failed. CryptoZoo, at the end of the day, did not fail because the price went too low. CryptoZoo failed because they never built a functioning game that they promised. Really, the number one problem, even bigger than people selling millions of dollars of tokens, was that they never paid the developers on time. As boring as that is. And as a result, the investors not only got rugged for millions of dollars, which is a problem, but they just didn't get the core thing they had bought from the beginning, which was not a crypto project, but something different.
I'm excited to launch my game.
You keep using and you just did it again. You keep using a word there, game. You're not using like a project. It's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
That's it. That to me is the biggest scam in all of this. Yes, it's a huge problem. People stole millions of dollars, but it's a symptom of the larger issue, which is people didn't actually care about the game or this, whatever you want to call it. They just cared about the money. And this is ultimately what happens when you have an influencer LARPing as a businessman. It's what happens when you have a liar LARPing as a developer. And it's what happens when you have a shady crypto guru LARPing as a crypto king. You end up with a mess. And in my personal opinion,
shady crypto guru LARPing as the crypto king.
A fraud as well. And now that this thing blew up in their faces, these four seem to be dodging accountability faster than SBF dodges calls. Because I have reached out to everyone involved. I've tried to get all of their statements on things. And so far, no one has taken accountability or offered to refund the victims at all. They're all hiding, pretending these victims don't even exist. But they do exist. And throughout my investigations, they've been the heartbeat of this whole thing. So I decided to close this investigations in a bit of a unique way. Rather than me deciding who's to blame or me deciding what you should think, I want to give them the last word.
Everyone's to blame. Logan, in the sense of his poor management, is his project. He still made these promises to people.
I think everyone is to blame, including Logan Paul, of course, because he was the one in charge of this, and he was responsible for all of this mess.
Everybody has a big part and a massive cross to bear.
Each one of them scammed the project in their own way, and then off to the sunset they went.
It was his job to check the team to make sure that everyone is working together, to make sure that he is giving the funds of the people that put it into his project under his name to people that he actually trusts. So in my opinion, if the team failed to perform, that's Logan Paul to blame.
The community is destroyed.
On
People is angry.
On point,
they just want their money back. They just want their normal lives back.
Reimburse those loyal fans. Or how to rebuild the project, actually deliver on the project.
Reimburse.
Those who are still holding their eggs, like I am, for those holding the zoo coins. So maybe they could just deliver what they promised, and that would give some redemption to this fiasco.
He's not said a word. That's as bad, almost as bad as taking the money. It's the not coming out and just being a man about it.
At least we deserve to know what was happening behind the scenes while we were waiting for almost a year and a half. The fact that we're hearing this information, not from Logan Paul, but from pretty much an investigator, it really says a lot.
What did this loss mean to me? It meant a lot. Not just personally, because I lost quite a lot of money. My kid and also my wife were invested. It was like telling
It's really sad to see this, man. So many people lost money, and that Crypto King guy, he's bragging on Twitter, buying Lambos and stuff. I don't care about that, but this is exactly the thing, right? This is exactly what's happening.
Santa doesn't exist or something like that, because she really believed in all that game. She really believed in Logan Paul. Kids look up to that kind of people. So it was some kind of broken dream.
My mother got...
Very important statement. Kids look up to these people, influencers, these big dudes like, Logan Paul, the boxer, the wrestler, whatever. And if these dudes, so-called their role models, they screw up, who do you expect? I mean, what do you expect?
My mum was invested. My sister was also invested. So, I mean, my daughter even had a couple of the eggs and animals.
Oh, man.
The loss for them hurts the most because obviously it's just not nice to see.
For somebody to win, somebody has to lose. That's a gamble you take, whether you get into crypto or not. I got in knowing
It's
that
so
I could
sad.
lose, which is fine. That's on me. But I thought if I lost something, it would be because I sold at the wrong time, or the game didn't earn as much as I thought it would, and therefore my things weren't as valuable. But you never go into it thinking it's not something that they're going to just sell out from underneath you, because they could make so much more if they actually delivered on what they said, even if they delivered on close to what they said. And that's the thing, is you don't think they're going to rug you because there was so much money in a game wallet.
Ultimately, at the end, the way I see it is it was fraud. Logan could have put out the red flags, told people to stop investing more into it, because people were investing to this project until the very last minute, where the ship was still just sinking down the ocean, and people were still putting their cash into it.
If I was on a call with Logan Paul, I would ask him, where did his redemption arc go? I think he was on such a good streak going about his YouTube career and boxing as well. And it's sad to see that because of money, once again, we have degraded down to stealing from his viewers.
What would I say to Logan Paul and his team if I could? Well, actually, I could, because I have an NFT from other project that gives me the right to see Logan Paul, to meet and greet with him. And I will actually use that right to tell him this story again, show him this video in front of me, and see how he reacts when he sees that my whole family and my kid are affected with this situation, because I think that's not human.
You would think that Logan would have told his fellow followers, his loyal
Man, that's sad. You selling fake dreams to kids.
fans that, hey guys, back off, red flag, things are there's turbulence in the water. No,
he didn't.
Not a single word.
Yeah.
Nothing whatsoever.
To market products at children and knowing full well that his team is made up of people that he believes are shady characters. Yeah, he still goes on Forbes interviews and says the game is great for kids. It's gonna
Pisses me off, man, when I see this.
The kids, their kids love it.
Our
The
developers,
kids love
kids,
it?
all of them, cannot stop playing the game.
I think that is inhumane the way that side of it's been marketed.
The game didn't even come out. It's just the same thing with Super Farm and imposters. It's nasty,
Knowing
man.
what's happened since, knowing that all of the people that were there from the beginning, like all of the guys.
There are certain legal issues around the company and its product that preclude us at present from answering the questions. Any questions? It is our hope that these will be resolved shortly for everyone's satisfaction, and at that point we'll reach out to you. That's the end, ladies and gents. And before I end this, I want to compare this. Since I'm doing this live, I can't create videos like Coffeezilla, polished and all that stuff at this moment, right? However, I want to show you something real quick, okay? So first, let's get done with Crypto King, all right? This is what it's doing, and this is exact clear signs of when somebody's called out and they know that people are, actually going to react to their tweets and stuff. This is exactly how they start behaving. Look, following these people, must respond before Christmas. What should I get my mom for holidays? A lot of people have tried. See this? 3 hours ago. This is exactly what he posted when he knew that Coffeezilla is about to expose him, right? So look at this. It says a lot of people have tried to take advantage of in the crypto space, whatever, of me, so-called. It hasn't ended well for any of them. And you can see clearly, what's the matter? Coffeezilla got you sweating? and then he's gonna troll and respond. But that's exactly the point, okay? If he was clean, he wouldn't have to worry about all these things. Like, he's literally sweating right now. I mean, you can clearly see on his tweets. And then if you go back a little down, you see all this garbage stuff. Money doesn't make you happy. Really, bro? You're trying to go? I don't know what the fuck he's trying to do. But yeah, this dude is shady. And on top of that, see this? He says Costa. $11.11. And if you are aware of Zach Expedy, he covered Costa, he covered Moon Carl, who literally promoted the same token, Costa. Okay, two things common in Carl and this dude. I mean, of course, they were exposed for all the fraud stuff, right? But on top of that, if you notice, Costa and Medieval, Me token, same dudes promoting and shilling this thing, okay, the same style. Cross-promoting and supporting each other. So, dude, be aware of these scumbags in the space who calls themselves Crypto King. Fucking assholes. Anyways, now I'm gonna close this, all right? And before I end this, I want to show you something real quick. All right? So why did I say that this, by the way, like I mentioned, I'm doing this live, impromptu. I can't create stuff like Coffeezilla at this moment, but I'm gonna try to give you as, accurate as possible, whatever I can, all right? So you can clearly see this guy, Elio Trades. Okay, currently he blocked me. Focused on building Superverse DAO, which used to be Super Farm at one point. Okay, he changed it to Super DAO. Okay, now tell me how this is different. I'm going to just show you the website real quick. This is the website. Super Farm is now Superverse. There's no new token. Super remains a token of the Superverse. Existing Super stakers need not touch their assets. Your funds are safe, etc., etc. This is the website. One-page website. Promised hundreds of stuff, okay, which never came out. Besides, they were just milking. Superstarter came out, which created a bunch of, I don't know if I can show you this, okay? Alex Becker, Crypto Banter, Rand Neuner, they were one of these first few people who literally shilled the 3 projects over here, okay? Donkey, Virtual Poker, Cold Stack. Go find out where they are right now, okay? Same old story, okay? This is all they had. Now it says imposters coming soon from 2 years, all right? And I mentioned this several times. 9 months ago, he was just promoting other garbage NFTs on NFTs, and that's it. Okay, one-page website, guys. No white paper since the beginning. Because this dude, literally, he created NFTs based on him and his girlfriend, so-called. That's what people are holding, ET NFTs. It's worth nothing. So if you compare this, whatever he's doing with Crypto Zoo, there's a lot of similarities. And I'm going to come to that in a second, okay? NFT generation coming soon, NFT marketplace, NFT trading. NFT is dead at this moment. You know what's happening, right? These guys promised NFT 2 years ago, and they're still building. But he raised millions of dollars through minting imposters, Superfarm, and all this stuff. Nothing came out. So what is Superfarm today? It's nothing. It's just community building what? He's not building anything, okay? And now, let's cut to the chase. Here's the thing. I have a thread on Superfarm and Elio Trades. Okay, he blocked me for a reason, just like people block Coffeezilla. Now, Elio Trades operates a Ponzi scheme, okay? He had Tron Chat, Evo, Pizza Heroes, none of them came out. From 3-4 years back, okay? That's what I'm saying. There are some scammers who are pretty much low-key. Coffeezilla didn't discover them or whatever. They're still hiding in the shadows and doing and milking the trend. And if you dig deeper, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, honestly, just correct me where I'm wrong here, okay? He keeps relaunching broken protocols. And I literally have videos where people are explaining what he did. Over here, okay? This is another investor. Really appreciate you looking into Superfarm and imposters. Okay? What the super token kept on dumping. Really appreciate you looking into Superfarm and imposters. Something is not right. Okay? And over here, this is a Reddit post. Okay? It's a Reddit post. Superfarm red flags 2 years ago. Feel free to check this out. All right? And then over here, caught Elio bumping another account, right? And over here, Zach XPT. Literally, Zach XPT covered this. Zach XPT calls out Elio Rainman, and you can see over here, if you read this, the entire thread, okay? Zach XPT is another version of Coffeezilla, but he's a non, okay? He literally covered Elio Trades. And then over here, Coffeezilla. Coffeezilla exposed FaZe Clan and their fraud multiple times, okay? And imagine this. FaZe Clan, okay? Thanks, that's an advice. So Superfarm hired so-called FaZe Clan as an advisor. Can you not see the red flags right there? None of these posts exist right now on Twitter, I guess, because they deleted it. But yeah, FaZe, part of Superfarm, shady, right? And over here, look, Pre-launch. This dude literally said, calls out Elliot Trades for stealing almost 6 million in pre-sale tokens and violating soft contract. Over here,
from people who had verified KYC, signed soft. His Telegram mods decided to dox 5 people when the cameras.
This is all there.
These are the valid questions investors are asking.
70 plus people
followers,
didn't
investors, and future
get their
investors.
money.
We thought you should know what's
Chief
going
Order
on with a
70
lot of
plus
pre-sale
people.
community members and 27,000 followers. This
They're
was
just 2 out of
posted
70 plus pre-sale
by
investors. I'm going to leave this thread for you guys for your convenience, okay? And it's all in order. You can see, just Google. And here, over here, Alex Schilling, Moonriver and Super Farm, vice versa, right? And last but not the least, I can't go through the entire stuff here. I don't want to ruin the whole chat, okay? But if you compare, this guy's coming up with Imposter's Game, which never came out, and they raised $60 million through the recent minting. So kind of, right? Imposters, and it's a copy of Among Us game, so-called. Now, cutting to the chase, I'm going to show you one Twitter account, well, a recent back and forth with this dude, right? So here's the thing. Check this out. So I created a list. I called it a shit list, right? And I posted this. Who else should I add on to this list, right? And then check out some of the comments, and then I'll end this. Lark Davis and Elliot Trades are the absolute worst. Lark, yeah, easy, no doubt. Tell me more about Elliot Trades and the damage he caused you. I'm interested to know. I want to talk to the victims of Super Farm who invested in Super Farm and Elliot Trades. Any project that Elliot Trades or Alex Becker shield, I would want to know your take on it. Like, if you're a victim, you lost money, reach out to me through DM, through email. Yeah, I'm very, I actually follow up. I do respond. Okay, try. So be like Nick Cameron. Okay, literally 12 followers, but is going back and forth and providing value. All right. So if you look here, he gives Super Farm to holders of his other failed projects as hush money, like 0.001 for P1 Veils. So they got a 4,000x overnight and dumped on everyone. Yes, I'm aware of this. I don't see many people talk about this. He literally, this is a Ponzi scheme. Okay. There were previous investors who were holding and chasing him for almost a year and a half. So what he did, he raised money from Super Farm and he defrauded current investors, took money from this farm and gave it to the older ones. You get the point? This is exactly what he did. So they are quiet now. Now he has to face new investors who are scammed, literally. So if you look at it, then Super Farm proceeded to produce literally nothing but overpriced NFTs that are worthless. He's a scammer. Yes. I'm not going to go to OpenSea, and I wish I could show you right now. It's too much. ET NFTs. Then he has been doing NFTs. He was milking this whole trend because he knows NFT is the easiest cash grab out there right now, or it's been there. Excuse me. When he started Super Farm, that was the promise, NFTs, and he started selling his NFTs and flipping, which has no value, guys. So maybe take a stand and call him out because he's literally relaunching this, Super Farm has become Superverse now. Probably just trying to hide the name because Super Farm is useless. It's nothing out there. There's no white paper. It never came out and nobody questioned it. This is a simple web page which is promoted by all these top levels, YouTubers, Carl and, Elliot Trades and Alex Becker. For real, this is how it looks like. And there's nothing else here besides some NFT drops and shills. That's it. This has been there forever. And he's been raising money. After the IDO, it kind of slowed down. That's when he, abandoned Superstarter. You could look at it, Donkey, Virtual Poker, all this came out when the IDO was popping. And after raising money here, everything is gone. All right. So let me finish this. So you do know the whole thing. Were you involved with any of his projects? The dude's intention from the beginning was shady and it's not done. Hence, I want this out so everyone can see because he ain't gone. He's still running the same stuff and different names with different names. He's just relaunching it and it's just going on and on. I briefly did a swing trade, but got out when I realized a P1 Veil had dumped like 3 million in Super in like April 2021. Guys, check this out. $3 million worth of dumpy right there. When you research his projects, nothing gets finished over. How is it different from CryptoZoo, which never came out? And literally he has nothing that's out. Just promised. Fake promises. So how is this better? Coffee, bro. I need this out. You need to see this. And then tell me, Rebel, you're wrong. Superfarm is the best project ever. Elliot Trade is the most cleanest person ever. He's the best guru ever. Tell me if that's true. Because it's not fine. I briefly did a swing trade, right? I know everything. The problem is, need the world to see this. You see this point? I want the world to see this. You give alpha using a non-account and no pics for followers. Who's going to believe, right? Nobody believes Nick Cameron with no pictures, but he literally gave alpha right here. I don't really use Twitter in New Zealand. I just use it to see what's happening in crypto. It's not like people even believe what I'm saying. They can't figure it out for themselves. He will just say, I'm a troll and salty broke bag holder who bought the top. That's exactly what people always say, right? I believe you. I just want more people to take a stand. It works only if everyone believes in it unselfishly. Okay? Because most people won't take a stand unless they have something to gain. I mean, dude, karma is real. So how about you just take a stand, expose people? Did you see all the people over here talking about, over here at the end? I want people like
ultimately
this.
At the end, the way I see it is,
I want you guys or whoever invested in or lost money in Superfarm or imposters, any of these scams, tokens that shill by Alex Becker or Elliot Trace. I want you guys out. Literally, just reach out to me. His imposters game, okay? Let's finish this. His imposters game. This is all latest though, December 22nd, okay? His imposters game is also to me a scam. People have paid thousands for a skin in an unreleased game. You might pay 15 for on Steam. How different is this from CryptoZoo? Literally, people have paid thousands for a skin in an unreleased game, not released. You might pay $15, and yes, it was thousands of dollars, close to $3,000 each NFTs. And if I'm not wrong, it was about $60 million raised. Where did the money go? It's so illogical for anyone to buy this shit when everything he releases doesn't deliver. They do because he is the YouTuber who would pump and can pump. That's how most see it. Because he has 600,000 subscribers, most people, just like Logan Paul, people believed in him because he would promote it and all that stuff. But literally, this is exactly what's happening. That's how most see it. It's pretty similar to Logan Paul stuff, if you notice. Regardless, if you were not anon, I would have asked you to step on a mic and maybe camera so we could record this. I want this exposed. So ladies and gents, without dragging this further, I know it was Coffeezilla, but if you look at this, Coffeezilla didn't cover this because there are scams pretty much every day. 10 minutes, there's a new scam. You can't discover every single scam, right? So maybe retweet this, put it out there. If Coffee sees this, maybe he'll cover it someday, okay? Because this is ongoing, guys. And this is not just $1 million, $2 million. This is huge. Crypto King, $6 million. This is probably much higher, bigger than that. 10, 20, 30, 40 millions. And it's been going on and on and on. I would have stopped talking about it if it was, if it stopped. But Elio literally blocked me. Not now and even FaZe, Banks, they even blocked me for a reason sometimes back. All right. So anyways, I just want to put this out there. And I would love to see more Nick Cameron, more Nick come out. Okay. And I would like to get your opinion on this. Okay. So ladies and gents, stay vigilant. And if you have lost money, whatever, if you have lost any kind of pennies, just reach out. Sometimes it's not your fault. Oh no, you know what? I think I bought it at all-time high. I think this dude is legit. It's my fault. No. It's not always your fault. Yes, research, be careful, do your own research, always. But it's not always your fault, okay? If the project is shady from the beginning, if the intention of the founders are shady from the beginning, you couldn't do much. That's how it is.